6 p.m.
6 a.m.?
6 p.m.
Oh,
Would you think I said a.m.?
I thought you.
Oh, this hearing is being held as required by the provisions of Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth and Act relative to the protection of the wetlands as most recently amended. Notice of the time and place of this hearing was published in the Fairhaven Neighborhood News on June 16, 2025. June 19, 2025. Thank you. It was also posted in the town's clerk office. This meeting is being audioed and videoed. Persons wishing to be heard will be called in the following order. I'd like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those?
Aye.
Okay. Executive session under MGL CH 30A 21A1 to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than the professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline or dismissal of complaints or changes against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. Conservation Commission and the Board Commission will return to the public session at the conclusion of the executive session. I'd like to entertain the motion to put this out of order and entertain it at 6:30.
So moved.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes for approval. Next, meeting mail. MACC annual dues invoice for the commission and staff members for fiscal year 2026. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Joanne, are our dues automatically paid through the town?
We have a budget for that, so they come due July 1st, they send us the invoice, so we have an invoice just waiting there. I think it's about $475, and then there's me and the agent that get added in as staff, so it's like $500 something, but that'll get paid after I just put it on the agenda, so you're aware that we'll be paying that invoice in July.
Okay, thank you. Old business, continue public hearing, NOI Stormwater, White's Farm Incorporated, 211 Middle Road, map 23, lot 29, 29A, and 29B, SE 0010596. A notice of intent and stormwater application was filed by Zachary Fox, Middle Road, Acushnet Solar LLC, for property located at 211 Middle Road, map 23, lots 29, 29A, and 29B. The applicant proposes to construct a ground-mounted solar array on a portion of the open fields within the property located at 211 Middle Road in Acushnet. Work is limited to the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland and bank. The applicant is represented by Sarah Stearns of Beals and Thomas. Incorporated plan name is Middle Road PV Solar Development. Date September 10th, 2024. Revised 6/9/25. Reviews of matter presented, votes may be taken. I'd like to entertain a motion to open the continued hearing.
Motion to open continued hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Gentlemen?
Good evening, the board. Zachary Farkas. I am the project developer with Rewild Renewables. With me, Dan Feeney from Fields and Thomas, and Greg Sampson with Sullivan Worcester. We're here continuing the hearing for the 211 Middle Road Solar Project. I'm planning on giving you guys a quick recap of the property. Then I'm going to talk about kind of what we've been doing in the time since we were last here. And then I'm going to go through some of the changes to the plan, and then happy to take any questions from the commission or the public that are here. So we're talking about the 55 or so acre property owned by the White family that currently houses the White dairy farm operations, as well as some other industrial uses on the east side of the property. The west side of the property hosts approximately a 30 acre hayfield that's been a hayfield for many, many years. On that field, we're proposing to use approximately half of the field for a ground-mounted solar array. Ground-mounted solar array, very similar to those that have been proposed and constructed throughout New England, Massachusetts, Southeast Mass, and even in this town over the past couple of years. The project, as I said, will take up about 50% of the field. It's a 7 megawatt project DC, 5 megawatts AC. It has battery energy storage, as all projects in Massachusetts are required and have been required since approximately 2020. We've been developing this project since March of 2018. So it's been a long, long time in process. The majority of the first years were spent simply waiting for interconnection delays. The studies of projects in Southeast Mass have been incredibly delayed, and we're finally starting to see not only the results of those studies, but the construction work resulting from those. You guys are probably seeing it around town. I know Eversource has been in talking about their Wing Lane substation, which is the substation to which this project is connecting. As I said, March 2018 until about November 2024, this project was stuck in Eversource's interconnection studies. So while all that was going on, we were kind of controlling the amount of money we spent or the amount of kind of public effort and energy that was put into this project. Just before that, the summer of 2024, we saw the end of the tunnel with Eversource and understood that the project was going to be feasible electrically, which is when we started our entitlement work. Specifically with this commission, we started with the ANRAD process, which began in the spring of 2024 and was issued by this board in May of 24. So the ORAD, which set the wetland lines that are on the site that we've used for our buffer zones and our setbacks. We put in our application for NOI in October of 2024. The chairman referenced the first revision of that drawing was just before that in September. So we've revised this drawing many, many times as we've gone through 5 rounds of peer review with Bill Madden over at GAF Engineering. The peer review was very, very engineering heavy, focused primarily on stormwater. There were a number of items on the planning board side that he looked at, but basically Bill reviewed this project for the entire town, Board of Health, for the planning board, and obviously for the Conservation Commission. In town, the Conservation Commission taking jurisdiction over stormwater and understanding that there have been some projects in the past at Acushnet that haven't performed from a stormwater standpoint as expected. Bill certainly got the direction from the town, and we got the direction during our informal meetings of how important it was to really belt and suspenders the design for stormwater, especially for this project. The benefit we have here is we're proposing certainly no tree clearing. There are no trees on site at all, and very, very little grading. The material amount of grading we're proposing is simply to be used for water capture, storage, and to meet the requirements of the stormwater. So the 5 rounds of peer review ended on June 17th with a letter from Bill Madden that recommended approval and confirmed that we met all the requirements of all those boards that I mentioned. So our plan or our request tonight is to close the hearing and see that the order of conditions be acted upon. We are coming in front of planning board tomorrow as well. That'll kind of complete the entitlement process. There have been a lot of changes from an engineering standpoint over the past 8 months where we went through those 5 or 6 rounds of peer review, but visually very little has changed. The material changes that you'll see is the berm and fence that come around the project to its on the east side and the south side that screen folks from the New Bedford side of town as well as Mary Drive and Acushnet. That berm was extended just a little bit. We put together our sight lines and saw that we needed to do a little bit more work on that berm, but ultimately the concept is the same that we introduced on the very first day that we submitted this project to town. Gravel access drives, after working and communicating with police and fire, were increased from 18 feet to 20 feet. And so as we create these berms and we move these, increase the size of the access roads and the 360-degree access road, we introduce some impervious surface. So that impervious surface creates additional stormwater controls that we need to make sure that stay on our site according to the stormwater bylaw here and at the state level. As a result, we expanded the main basin by a little over 40%. So the original kind of calculations that we had based on the assumptions, the grading, the plan, going back and forth with Bill, we kept increasing that basin so he was sure that it was going to satisfy any of the needs of the site. We've also included a very creative group of retention cells here that are just 12 inches deep. They're designed to help slow down the flow of water and direct the water to where we want it to go. This is the area where we see the best draining soils, the Class C soils. The site's primarily D, but in this area we have some C soils, and after a lot of collaboration with GAF Engineering, we came up with this solution to meet some of the requirements of the bylaws. There's a sewer main currently that exists that runs right through the property that serves the industrial uses just north of Mr. White's dairy operations. We're going to move those instead of just building around them. It was really important for the Board of Health and to GAF Engineering that folks had access to that sewer main if it ever had to be serviced or whatnot. So that whole sewer main is going to get moved right into the access road. It'll have manhole covers, etc., so that it can be easily accessible by anyone in any need. It hasn't been serviced in all these years, but you never know. That was a change, and then there were a bunch of minor items that your eye wouldn't see when looking at the plan. You guys know these stormwater reports are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages long, so every time there's a small modification in the design, they get rerun, we go over it, etc. So that's where the primary amount of our work was focused over the past 8 months since the original application. And again, it was a big undertaking for us in GAF Engineering to do all the boards at once, but it kind of leads to a more cohesive process when we get to where we are now. I won't go over the detailed schedule of what we've done, but it's included obviously the ANRAD and the following ORAD, site walk with this board as well as other boards, comments from fire, from emergency services, from the Board of Health, and obviously the 5 peer review comment letters that have all been incorporated into the final plan and the final package. So that's what we've been up to. I know it's the direction of this board as well as the planning board to kind of work with Bill, make sure everything was sorted and clean before we come back, and we're here.
Joanne, I got a quick question for you. Was all the Bill Madden's last peer review letter sent out, all the members?
I don't remember if I sent it out. Do you guys
So,
remember if I sent it? No.
I did get to read the last peer review letter, and I actually talked to Bill Madden on the phone, as well as Mark did, and Mark went over the same letter. Bill feels very confident in what's been going on, how the changes were made. The letter that he sent was very pinpoint. Stormwater was very heavy on it. You guys did do a lot of changes to fix that. He mentioned your little setup there with the 12-inch, and so I actually even called Bill on the phone and I had a discussion with him. And like I said, he feels very, very confident in what's going forward. I know that we got the revised plan just the other day, correct?
Yeah, I think electronics copies.
6-9. Yep,
And then,
yep, we got
6-9, and
6-9.
then some hard copies came over.
Yep, so when I talked to Bill, he said that's the only thing you're missing, Jim. He says is the revised. But he says once you get that, he feels pretty good that we're ready to go. The only thing is now I'm going to look at the commission and ask if anyone has any questions.
I think it sounds good.
Oh, what date did you say you were going by bylaws for the buffer zones and setbacks?
I'm sorry, one more time?
The buffer zones and setbacks, when did you say the date and what bylaw were you going by? The what?
Buffers were set via the ANRAD process. We submitted our ANRAD in March of 2024, and it was, the ORAD was issued by this board in May of 2024. So that's where we set the wetland lines, and then all buffers from those wetlands lines according to the Wetlands Protection Act.
And then, you said you still have to have a meeting with the planning board tomorrow?
That's right. Yep, we're in a similar place. That all clear letter that Chairman Souza referenced covers both boards.
Okay. The sewer main being moved. Where is it originally? Can you just point that out for everyone?
So it originates up here and comes right through the property like this.
Okay.
And it's moved into this road right here. And when I say moved, it's a new one will be placed on the road. We'll cut it off, but it'll be placed in this access road right here with manhole covers and all that. So we've been working with it's the plumbing company up here that has access rights or use rights for that force main that runs down to New Bedford.
What's the relevance of the wetlands pertaining the sewer construction? Anything?
Nothing. It's all. We're only touching it in the upland area. We're not proposing any work in the wetland area.
Okay. And certain different types of erosion control or anything in that area?
Specific to the stormwater, to the force main?
Yeah.
No, it's gonna go right, move right into the road. It won't be,
Yeah,
it won't
not
be under
gonna
or
be
around any of the stormwater.
Detrimental?
No.
Anyone else?
Doc, what was the outcome of the catch basin, I guess we'll call it, in the middle of that field? What was decided on that?
The existing catch basin?
Yes.
Dan, you know,
Is that being left? Is it being tied in? Is it?
I think it's in here, right? It's-
Correct.
Yeah.
No, there's another one in the, no, there's nowhere.
It was in the middle of that.
It's right.
This is the old golf driving range tee-off
Yeah, that's
area.
not where it is.
No.
No,
He's talking
it was in the
about
field.
one
It's
in
in, it was in the field
Yeah.
itself.
That's-
Toward the south end of the field.
And we had stumbled upon that, we had pointed that out as a commission for that to be looked into, and
Well, according to what he's saying, that's gonna be part of the sewer system they move. I'm imagining that main was right on the same thing. Cause where he just pointed out, that's exactly where that manhole cover was. I don't know if somebody man-made put a cap in it or if it was.
an open basin.
No, I
with a
remember-
steel
I
frame.
remember
Now, look,
that
We walked,
being-
right,
But right where he said they were moving that sewer
Yeah.
system, that's exactly where that cap was.
okay,
In the basin.
We had
So-
the surveyor go back out and located everything.
okay.
Yeah, there's a catchment.
Plans.
There was a catchment.
Right, because,
directly
and the
in
reason why I pointed out, it was because of, it was a discovery fact after the fact.
It was.
Right, so I just want to make sure that it's included or it has been addressed.
Absolutely. After that site walk in October,
Yes,
we identified a couple things that were out there that didn't get captured in the first
Correct.
survey, but all that one got captured, yes.
okay,
And actually, I think Bill Madden mentioned that in the first peer review.
okay.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
I remember reading that one.
Yep.
It was.
Right, it's just that this is, time has lapsed, so,
Yeah, making sure.
yeah.
Yep, that was a long time ago. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone from the audience? Okay, with that being said, and from what Bill Madden has sent us, discussed with us, and I know that Mark has been talking to Bill Madden. He's not here, but I know he talked to Bill Madden just recently. So I would like to entertain a motion that the order of conditions, was there any specialty orders? Do you have that in Wyoming?
I have the notice of intent, but I didn't work with Mark on any special conditions.
I spoke with Mark this afternoon asking the same question, and he didn't have it.
We have a natural special order of conditions on ours, correct? I just want to read it off, just so I know. I don't think it's nothing major.
Yeah. We could always continue it until after they get through planning too.
But planning's going to be looking for us to, okay, before they get it. So-
Did we apply any special conditions other than what's?
So we have a natural special order of conditions that I'm going to read right here, and it's one that we have on every standard order. So I am going to read out our specific special condition that we add to everyone. Erosion control inspection, on-site meeting with contractor within 5 days prior to construction. Site visit from agent at end of construction. No stockpiling of materials, no equipment stored, no refueling, no portable toilet, all washout from concrete in the buffer zone. So that is our special condition.
Oh, what do you mean by stockpiling material?
So if there's wetlands, you can't go stockpile material in the wetlands.
Yeah, it's,
Pertaining to the WPA.
yeah, I get what you're
Not-
saying,
not
but you
the
gotta
site
say,
in
you gotta
particular.
specify in the wetlands. Area, don't we?
Okay, erosion control inspection, on-site meeting with contractor within 5 days prior to construction. Site visit from agent at end of construction. No stockpiling of materials, no equipment stored, no refueling, no portable toilets, all washout from concrete in the buffer zone.
Yeah, it's pretty,
And that's what I just read.
pretty
I didn't
clear.
have the last
Yeah.
thought.
So with that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion that the order of conditions go through.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you all very much.
You all set?
Thank you.
Yeah, basically, yes, that's correct.
Okay. Public hearing after the fact, RDA Buzzard Bay Coalition Incorporated, 89 South.
Great, where are we going?
We got amended order for Sakapa.
Oh, okay. We got continue, but you're right, I skipped that, okay. Continue public hearing, request for an amended order of conditions, applicant Sakapa Park Drive LLC, owner White's Farm Incorporated, off Park Drive, SE 0010553. A request for an amendment to an existing order of conditions was filed by Sakapa Park Drive LLC for property located off Park Drive, map 17, lot 22B13. The applicant proposes to install a solar photovoltaic array consisting of 4,999 kW and battery storage project within the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. Revisions include wetland crossing area and wetland flagging. The applicant is represented by Robert Bokowski of Weston and Sampson Engineering. Plan name is Park Drive Solar PV Development. Dated December 10th, 2020. Revised plans date March 20th, 2025. Review of matters presented. Votes may be taken. I'd like to entertain a motion to open the continued public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. With that being said, they requested for a continuance. So I'd like to entertain a motion that this gets continued to 7/23 for more information.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
723.
7/23.
Yeah.
New business. You get that? Okay. Public hearing after the fact, RDA, Buzzard Bay Coalition Incorporated, 89 South Main Street. And after the fact, requested for determination was filed by Buzzard Bay Coalition Incorporated for property located at 89 South Main Street, map 25, portion lot 35. The work consists of the 34. The work consists of the removal of a single-family home and associated debris around home site. The applicant is represented by John Chester, project manager at Buzzard Bay Coalition Incorporated. Review of matters presented. Votes may be taken. John, step on up.
Should we make a motion to open?
I'd like to entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
So moved.
I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I don't think we closed
And,
the first one.
We didn't close
no.
211.
No.
Okay. Go ahead, John.
Hello, board. My name is John Chester. I work for the Buzzards Bay Coalition, and I'm here to represent them for the after-the-fact RDA for the work at 89 South Main Street. And to answer any questions, I can give you a brief summary of what the work was, if that's helpful. Basically, there was the coalition purchased the property last summer. There was an abandoned single-family house about 400 feet off of South Main Street. That we engaged a local contractor, Fernandez Excavation, to remove the structure and some debris on the site. There was plastic and wood and tires and stuff like that near the house. Fernandez was issued a building permit in November of 2024, completed the work, and put seed down by March of 2025. And there was not an address of any potential within the buffer area stuff during the course of the permit issuance or closing. And we were here last month. Alan Decker, my co-worker from the coalition, and there was a request to do an RDA and decide whether this, if there should have been a site visit, I guess, prior to, the work being initiated.
So I know Saturday we went out there. What a beautiful
It was
place.
a good day for it.
Yeah, it really is. It's a real beautiful place. I know you asked that if you needed to come, and I did have a couple of questions. I know that the mowing and the maintenance along the wetlands is exempt. You're all set with that. Actually, Mark looked into that for us, and he let me know that you guys are exempt for that. The only concern I had was when we were walking around, there's still a lot of debris in the woods, there's some tires in the
Yeah.
woods, and I'd kind of like to know what your plan with that.
I believe the long-term goal would be to remove it all. I think at this point, because of where it is located, we would, before we do another round of removal, we'd probably come, at least come to the commission and just have it come out there and see what we want to do, I guess. I'm personally, my role, I'm not sure what the long-term plan is on the site, but for my purposes, if I was asked to get the rest of the debris removed, that would be the plan. We'd probably hire another contractor to come in and just pull the stuff out as carefully as possible and use erosion controls where necessary if it's deemed to be.
Yeah, do it winter or something when all the growth is down.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So you said you guys had a building permit for it?
Yeah, building permit was issued for.
Demolition permit.
It's a
Demo
building
permit.
permit for demolition was issued.
And how was the determination that it needed an RDA through us come through?
At the time, there was no comment from the commission, but it
How did it
happened.
get passed up?
So what happened when we were looking at it, and it's within the 100 feet buffer zone?
Yeah, on
Is-
what map? On what plan? On what delineation?
On the mass mapper.
Yeah.
And then when we did a site visit, it is
Clearly
right there.
indicated.
It's
Have you
indicated
looked at it,
within
Eric?
100 feet.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
actually.
So, with that being said, we talked with Alex, was that his name?
Alan.
Alan, we talked with Alan at the last meeting. I'm not sure if you were there, but we talked with Alan, and he says, oh, you're right, it is within the buffer zone, so we'll do it after the fact, and we all agreed, and that's how this became. But he did agree that on one corner, it is within the buffer zone. So, and then when Alan said he didn't have an issue because it was within, we said, okay, just fill out an after the fact RDA and let it go. Any other questions?
No?
With that being said, anyone from the audience? Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion that we do a negative determination on after-the-fact RDA.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do you want to add anything about the debris being in there, or as a condition, or no?
Well, it was brought up, so yeah, it should be that we are looking to get maybe that debris removed.
Yeah, we just made the we just made it.
Yeah.
To remake a motion.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion that we add the removal of
No, we
the...
have to cancel the
You
first
gotta,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
What, this, they said they're gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'll go with that.
If it becomes an issue, we can just keep an eye on it.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to do before the 6:30 agenda is I'd like to entertain a motion to bring...
Let's close this one.
Okay. I thought I already did with the negative
No.
determination.
Yeah.
No, you just made a negative determination,
Right.
you voted on it, you need to close the hearing.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion that we close the public hearing on the RDA.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The other thing I'd do is I'd like to entertain a motion that we bring back up 211 Middle Road to close it, which I believe I can do, correct, Joanne?
Sure.
Okay, do I get
So moved.
a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, let me see, what was that, 222? I mean, 211?
211, yeah. Okay.
That's right.
630.
They're all set.
Yeah, we're gonna go into executive session.
No.
6.
Okay, what's that?
I don't think they're ready yet.
David, you guys ready?
We are.
Oh.
Do you have other business?
We got one other.
I think we have one more case.
One just got-
Is it gonna be, you think it'll be quick or long drawn out? 'Cause I hate to make people wait, we could hold off.
It's only, what, discussion?
That's a discussion.
Yeah, I would hate to have people wait for us, because I think we might spend some time, so if you wanna take this out of order. this
Why don't you just do the,
meeting, we
just
can
send it, spit
talk
some
amongst
of
ourselves.
that voice it, then we're done.
All right.
No, then you go then you-
185 Mattapoisa Road, DEP file number 586, drainage construction issues, review of matters presented, votes may be taken. I do have to recuse myself.
This one, that's only next to it for you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta recuse myself also. Next.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. Yeah. Mr. Fredette.
Good evening.
How are you?
My name's David Fredette. I'm just prepared to provide a couple of quick comments on the sightings from the list of the 6 items. The main reason for that is because I didn't know for sure what was going to be discussed tonight, and I don't have anything prepared, but in any event, we would like to prepare a written response because a written complaint or a written citing was made. I didn't know for sure if Maria was going to be here tonight, but both of my clients are under now specifically under a letter of trespass. We can't even do the work that we were planning to do. So, in answer to the 6 items, the concrete block wall that's 18 feet longer, that's correct. That was intended to be completed. It was left open-ended because we weren't sure exactly how long the wall was going to be. The concrete block wall depicted on the plan is an existing wall, and I think the only thing that was added was the capstone or the cap block, because I think when I took the grades on it, it was without the cap block. So the length and the height have not really changed, and they're not in non-compliance with the plan. The original plan for the grading was intended to try and direct as much flow to the backyard as possible. However, the final grading had to be significantly changed because the propane tank that went in on the side of the house more or less prevented us from being able to grade the kind of grading that we needed in that area to get a swale to go in the back. So the final solution to that, and it has come to fruition as a result of the continued development of the dwelling. The final solution for that is to extend that block wall, which now we cannot do because a letter has been sent to my client preventing him from trespassing, which you cannot possibly make an arrangement to make that wall happen without having to cross the line a few feet, not a lot, but it has to be a little bit. As far as the fill in the backyard, that stone wall was approved and intended to be restored and modified with a revetment. And the revetment had a low spot and a high spot. The high spot was intended to be somewhere around 100, elevation 100. And I don't know exactly what the problem is because the entire board members looked at that site and there was never any question that a fill was going to be required, and it ended up the revetment wall or the revetment was restored up to an elevation of about 100, and the fill went to that wall. I'm not sure exactly why there's a question on it. And the roof leaders that were added to the sump, that was as a matter of convenience. I had not planned on having that happen, but that is what the client ended up doing. So it is a matter of convenience, but it's not uncommon in the neighborhood as far as connecting roof leaders together and having it discharged to a low point in the property. That's really all I was going to try and discuss, and I just need to know what the deadline would be for a written response to the Davinian letter. I was thinking the next meeting.
Well, I guess, that being said, I'd be open to that. You know, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with any further work commencing until that's complete, until we get a response, because
Well,
you know.
I can understand that, but
I think there's been some substantial changes here, and specifically in the grades. That is creating more of a burden. Mark, as far as the runoff pipes, what was the determination in that you had?
I didn't have anything definitive.
Is that right?
Why, but that said, to me, that appears to be one of the,
Conflicting?
or one of the significant issues that needs to be addressed. What's the are there jurisdictional implications of that? Does it need to be re-engineered? And I don't have an answer, I'm just asking the
are we
question.
talking about the drain along the outside of the wall?
No, the roof runoff.
Well,
Yeah.
again,
I
I
mean,
was,
like you said, it's still a change, and, it was done out of necessity, I guess you're saying?
pretty much.
Right. I mean,
The alternative is to have it collected and just drained out
I
elsewhere.
mean, most projects, they have a recharge. I'm not
Is that a requirement?
I'm not 100% sure that it is, but that's why I was asking if Mark had any further information yet.
No, I don't, but
Okay.
I do have, basically, given the circumstances, I put together, it's my advice. I was trying to print this out, I couldn't get a printer to work up there, it's not functioning. I emailed it to everybody, so you should have it, but I can read it now if you'd like to hear what my advice was, given the circumstances. It's up to you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yeah, no, I would like to hear what you have.
So, in the course of this, I received a number of back and forth. Mr. Sousa was seeking a cease and desist for a situation on the adjacent property. There's an open orders of conditions. There were, given I don't want to say complexity, but given the, a little bit of the history there, I spoke with DEP and I also spoke with town council. So this is what I wrote, and my apologies, I was trying to print a hard copy. It's in your inboxes. Okay, 185 Mattapoisett Road, Conservation Agent Advice. I received a request to issue a cease and desist enforcement order for 185 Mattapoisett Road from James Sousa, resident at 183 Mattapoisett Road, Acushnet, Mass.
What? Sorry.
The Conservation Commission may issue an enforcement order if it determines an activity is in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and 310, CMR 10, or a final order of conditions. I consulted with Mass DEP, Brandon Costa, as I had questions about the situation, a situation where there is an open order of conditions, work is ongoing to complete the permitted activity, and what constitutes a significant threat to the resource areas or where delay would increase harm or compliance resolution. I'm sorry, that's a quotation. The bit about what constitutes a significant threat or resource area to resource area, all right, and would increase harm or complicate resolution. I guess that would, well, I'll just read it, and I'm sorry you don't have it in front of you. Yeah. I discussed the situation via telephone with Brandon Costa, who also provided the following in writing after consulting with his immediate supervisor. If the alleged import of additional fill represents a significant deviation from the approved plans under the existing order of conditions, then per the Mass DEP amended orders policy, the commission must require a new notice of intent for the unapproved and significant deviation. So those two I highlighted. So what constitutes, that's the question
Right.
before you all to
Yeah.
decide what constitutes
Right,
that or
what-
not.
yeah.
If the applicant refuses, this is just, they're laying out the process. This is what they saw as the next steps. But let me finish, sorry. If the applicant refuses to file a new NOI or fails to comply with the original order, the commission should proceed under 310 CMR 1008 and the Mass DEP Wetlands Enforcement Manual, which authorizes the issuance of an enforcement order without prior notice, where, quote, work is ongoing and poses a significant threat to resource areas or where delay would increase harm or complicate resolution. It's not, I don't have much more, sorry. You can cut me off if this isn't helpful. In addition to seeking DEP guidance, I consulted with town council, Alex Weisheit, as I wanted to assess potential litigation risks that might arise from the requested action. Under the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Conflict of Interest Law, all municipal employees, including Conservation Commission members, are subject to provisions of the law. This is from Alex. This law is designed to prevent situations where public employees' private interests might conflict with their official duties. A key aspect is the appearance of conflict of interest, which prohibits conduct that would lead a reasonable person to believe an official might be improperly influenced or biased. So, in addition, the conservation agent received a review of the property from Dave DeVignon, which cited a number of purported violations of the orders of conditions. The comments focused on apparent deviations in grading, elevation from the approved orders of condition. Also cite some aspects of the work which are identified on the approved site plan, e.g. concrete block wall, to be completed, end quote. Number 6 identifies roof runoff pipes appear to be discharging directly into the wetland. This is of concern and warrants additional discussion, clarification. So again, that's one of the things that I think if it has to be infiltrated, my advice is to request an amended order of conditions be filed by the applicant and then follow the process outlined by the DEP. It seems that the question of what constitutes significant deviation and unapproved and significant deviation is central to the Commission's consideration of this matter. These terms are undoubtedly defined within the regulations. I don't have the definitions. And I'm sorry, that's a whole lot of legalese, I guess, but I'm trying to frame what's going on and get some guidance from DEP and again, I mean, part of my role, as I understand it, and been in many of my jobs, is to assess, you know, is there litigation risk or not? And I don't know if, I mean, we could discuss that further with town council, but that was some guidance he gave back. So it's not anything definitive, it was just.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go to the podium.
Do you have anything further, Mr. Fredette? I mean, other than
Just-
that you'd like
Just
to...
the request for the deadline for
well,
my response.
Yeah, that you'd like to respond in writing.
Right.
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, if I could,
Yep.
did we lift the cease and desist on this property?
Not to my knowledge.
We
It
did-
was-
We did the first, they were here last, and there was
It
some,
was...
yeah, in the letter, I don't think they ever received the letter. I wrote the letter, I signed
So
the
there was
letter.
no lift on the cease and
Well,
desist?
I think there was.
There was.
I think, and we have to look at the video of the meeting, because I think we
I mean,
discussed that. and approved
that's
it.
important here,
So-
right? That's,
So I'll work on finding, my memory is that at the end of the last meeting where this issue was in front of the commission,
it
you
was,
voted to remove it.
Right, they were
and it was
going
and
to...
it was based excuse me, Mr. Vice Chairman, and it was based on discussions with the landowners and Mr. Souza, based on the issues that were happening out there, that they could come to an agreement to mitigate the issues,
I think you're
right?
correct, I think.
So I'm not sure 100%, Shane, what's happened in between that. I'm not real comfortable even not knowing whether we've lifted this cease and desist order. I mean, I took a ride by, I noticed that you had happened to have the driveway done, paved, right? And I know I had discussion with you on site visit that day to kind of hold back on moving forward until we could resolve any of these ongoing issues or potential issues before you guys spent your hard-earned money planting trees, paving the driveway, etc. I just think there's still a lot of fire involved in this case, and I think it's a fair ask not to continue forward until we put all of this to bed.
And as far as my
Do you want the
understanding,
podium?
Yeah, if you'd like to speak, could you please
That was just wrong,
address the...
And Shane, I certainly don't want to hold you guys up as homeowners, but there seems to be a lot of underlying issues with this project from the get-go. I'm hearing a lot of the possibilities of the grading, of the wall, of this, of that still. We're not 100%. And I think I made it clear from the get-go that this should go down for the peer review and these things be corrected, right? And put this thing to bed once and for all and stop the feuding as neighbors. I'm not comfortable with what's going on here.
well, I'll be honest, neither are we.
Could you identify yourself?
Yeah, Shane Tracy, owner, resident, 185 Mattapoisett Road. Thank you for the discussion. We're not very comfortable with what's going on either. My wife's not here. She's pregnant. Stressful situations are not good for her or the baby, so that's why she's not here tonight. So I'm here without her. The last time we had a meeting, we talked. I was completely open and honest, and I think we talked about it, and you said something in the meeting of how we've been open and honest, and I told you things I knew, I told you things I didn't know, and that's why I rely on my site engineer expert. A lot of this stuff is outside of my realm of expertise, so I try to do what I can, and personally I probably learned a little bit too much about this stuff. I only got so many penguins on the iceberg and things are jumping off. So I don't have the bandwidth to learn the whole expert side of this. That's why I rely on the experts and the professionals for it. When we talked last time at the meeting, there was a discussion saying a cease and desist was put in our property, and we never received one in the mail. I never got a phone call, I never got an email. I found out mid-meeting that apparently was a thing, and then there was a motion and was immediately removed. So we continued forward with just the driveway, as it was nowhere near the property line or anything that was of concern, as I understood it, for what the commission was concerned with. So that's why we did that. If that offends you, sir, I'm sorry. We did not mean it like that in any way. We figured the driveway was far enough away from all of the concerns and issues on that side, which I think were this completely, lies as far as the homeowner. But, I'll whatever recommendations you have, we're here, we're open. We're not trying to
rather
do
than
anything
drag this
wrong.
out,
I'd like to go to the podium, please.
well, if you're going to be brief, yes, please. Go
I
ahead.
will be brief.
All right, Jimmy?
Hi, my name is James Souza. I'm representing myself at 183 Mattapoisett Road. On June 13, 2025, I sent a letter to this board saying, Mark, I am a 58-year resident living at 183 Mattapoisett Road. This letter is being written as a resident and not as the chair of the conservation. I am coming forward as the abutting to 185 Mattapoisett Road. I know of you have been involved with this matter. I personally hired an engineer. So when you say hire a peer review, they said absolutely not. I paid for the peer review.
Correct.
Okay, so with that peer review that I hired, they sent a letter regarding the violation owner has did on his property. The other concern I have is the engineer, Dave Fredette. He has put his stamp on the approved drawing and simply ignored the order of conditions. After April 24th, they have brought in 4 loads of material for the driveway, and then the 4 loads for loom, and then had the driveway asphalted. When I met with Dave and Shane on the property after the 23rd meeting, they both said to me that they was going to start cutting grades. With the being said in the letter from my engineer that I did hire, Dave Davinian, I'm requesting immediate cease and desist until all matters are resolved with all the proper paperwork, including the orange sticker, and there is no confusing. With that, here is the letter from my engineer that I paid for out of my pocket. Peer reviewed it. This is from Dear Mr. Vice Chairman and Commission Member, Schneider, David and Leon Incorporated, acting as agent for Mr. Souza of 183 Mattapoisa Road, a direct abutter of the above listed property, hereby submitting this memorandum to the Acushnet Conservation Commission for their consideration. I reviewed the plans of record dated 11/30/23, revised May 1st, 2024, prepared for Shane and Courtney Tracy by Dave Fredette, together with the order of conditions issued by the ACC on 8/24/23, and find the following. Special conditions. The work shall conform to the plans and special conditions referred to this order. Non-compliant issues. The concrete block retaining wall is approximately 18 feet longer towards the Mattapoisa Road than the design plan spec. So it's 18 feet longer than the plan that was approved. The concrete wall retaining wall appears to be higher than the design plan. That I do not know, and Dave did not shoot grades, but he did shoot the grades when it was my septic system. That wall is on my septic system. That's why I hired Dave, and that's why he knows they're higher. The swale, which was proposed to be 7 to 13 feet from the Sousa's property line, consisting of a cut into the existing grade with a slope of 2% westerly and easterly, and running past the proposed modified concrete block wall to the wetlands, was never constructed. So if they would have constructed it, they would have put the propane tank in the right area. So to say it's because they put a propane tank in, they should have graded the property first. The proposed slope of the fill to be placed on the north side of the house was designed to be set for a 4-to-1, beginning 4 feet from the house, ending 25 feet towards property line, was not graded per the design. The design is the plan that was approved by this commission. The proposed fill towards the wetland was supposed to end a minimum of 25 feet from the wetland, was placed at or near the wetland line, is significant higher than the design plan. Date for that on April 23rd indicated it was at elevation 100-101. The plan showed 96, so that's 5 foot higher, right up against the wetlands, with a riprap wall that has no fabric paper behind it or nothing, so that is more significant damage to the wetlands. Roof runoff pipes appear to be discharging directly into the wetlands. The stormwater bylaw exempts the development of single-family house lots, 40,000 square feet. However, it is my opinion that the project currently is in violation of the spirit of the bylaw, definition of alteration of drainage characteristic. Any activity in an area of land that changes the water quality, force direction, timing of location, runoff or flowing from the area, such charge indicated, changes from disturbed runoff to confirmed or discrete discharge, change in the volume of runoff from the area, and change in the peak rate to recharge to the groundwater on the area. Under pre-construction, runoff was directed to the westerly-easterly direction parallel to the Sousa's common property line. Under post-construction, condition finished contours direct runoff directly onto the Sousa's property at the base of the slope and over through the concrete wall, retaining wall, was nearly abutting the property line. And I do have pictures of the water coming through the wall. Conclusion, based upon the above description reason, it is the opinion of this office, which I paid for, that the project is currently in non-compliance with the OCC issued under DEP file number SE1-586. Requested remedy. On behalf of the applicant, Schneider Devane & Loan Incorporated, hereby respectfully request that the ACC immediately issue an enforcement order, required compliance to the OCC and approved plan as record as the following. Remove all the unauthorized 18 feet of retaining wall. Remove of all concrete blocks which are above the specific design elevation of the plan record. Remove of all fill within 10 feet of the property line. Remove of the fill on the southerly side retaining wall, which restricts, prohibits flow of runoff as proposed to the plan that was approved. Removal of the fill placed within 25 feet of the wetland. Once again, I said that the plan showed 96, it's at 100 to 101. Remove of the roof runoff pipes constructed of grass swale per the approved plan of record. We respectfully request the above be completed within 30 days and that the ACC considered fines as outlined in the stormwater bylaws for the future to comply. Now, I know, Doug, you said that you don't want this hot between neighbors. If they would have done exactly what that plan says, that's in front of the Vice President, we would not be here today. With that being said, I am going to advise that this be taken under an enforcement order because it was not done to anything of the specs. And it says, in this situation regarding immediate action or enforcement order may be signed by a single member or the agent commission and ratified by majority of the members at the next scheduled meeting of the commission. I know that Mark mentioned an amendment. There is no way that anyone can approve an amendment that is elevation 96 to 101 to 101 or 100 right up against the wetlands. So I don't feel this is an amendment order. Everything I am saying is public knowledge. Anybody can get the same homework that I've done to get it. But I am asking this board to go with the enforcement order, considering they literally did whatever they wanted on that plan, and now they're coming and saying they're going to change it again and come up with new plans. I don't feel that is proper. I don't feel that's what this board should do, and it is setting a bad precedent. Because if anyone has a plan, they can go home and do whatever they want and just come back and say, hey, listen, the grades are all off, but we'll do something later on. So with that being said, I am requesting it.
Go ahead, Mike.
I just wanted to be clear that what I said and laid out was the process that DEP or advised based on the information they had. They don't have, I'm not saying that, well, I guess I recommended that we should follow DEP's process, but I think you touched on it. It's up to the commission to make a decision. I know there's a time, your concern is time.
But the other thing is too, they got a pipe there that was never a drawing. Sorry, there was a pipe there that never had a drawing, and I asked for the drawing.
Jimmy, you said your piece, and very good. Mr. Fredette, do you have anything further that you'd like to add to this discussion?
I'm hoping that we do not.
Please.
I'm making sure that I understand that we are going to have time to provide a written response to all this. And I'm going to reemphasize again.
Absolutely.
The plan that we have is essentially in compliance. You cannot possibly have everything perfect when you're doing this work. And I think he's wrong on the concept of the revetment in the backfill and all that. That's wrong. The wall has. I'm not going to go anymore because that's what the problem is.
Okay. So you're asking for the time to.
Your deadline for my response to you.
Well, if we continued this to the following meeting, for you to submit a written response, again, I would not want any further work commencing on that site until we...
Well, pretty clear. We can't even put the wall in the way we should. And as far as I'm concerned, Shane can continue to do the work outside the buffer, right? The buffer line is on the back side of the house, about 5 feet away.
Yeah, no, I understand, and that's part of...
He's forgetting that.
Well, that's part of the issue here that we're looking at. That is...
Right, there's two things going on here. You have jurisdiction, and the town has jurisdiction to the building department.
Well, there's a stormwater issue, and there is a WPA issue as well. So, if that is cohesive with everyone until the following meeting, I'd be all right with that.
And I reserve the
personally-
right, if we have to
I'm not,
postpone it.
I'm not speaking for all the members on the commission.
No, but listen, I'm going to take some time to, there's history on this project that goes back before any of you members, I don't think any of you members were on this in 2012.
No, we're not.
There's history that goes back before 2006.
Can I just say that if it was disclosed by the previous owner, I would have bought this land. That there was issues personally between Mr. Souza and the other Mr. Fredette. It was not disclosed
All
to
right,
us.
well, we're not gonna,
Yeah.
You need to
sorry.
get up here to speak.
I appreciate your input.
Mr. Vice
We're not
Chairman,
gonna
if I
get
could,
into,
I do think we should stick with no more work to on-go
yeah, no,
until this has been resolved
Yeah.
100%.
sorry.
Inside the Buffalo.
I don't want to see any work
And-
on that site happen, Mr. Fredette.
Are you including like landscaping and
Mr.
driveway?
Fredette,
No.
Mr. Fredette, this, and I said this from the get-go, from the very first site visit over there, this is not built in accordance with those drawings, with those plans that were submitted. That's been made loud and clear. You've said that yourself.
You're right.
Okay.
There's nothing that will ever be done perfectly according to
Yeah,
a plan.
and-
That's the reason why they call it a plan.
Mr. Fredette, it's not
I'm
built
sorry.
according to plan. And I think this commission should uphold a cease and desist then at this point in time until this has been resolved.
Not how it works.
Again, will stress that I would hate to see this family continue to spend all of this
Yeah,
money
this is,
filling in, bringing fill in, shrubbing it, dressing it, whatever they gotta do. This is it. Let's get this resolved, okay?
Yeah,
I think that's a
think
fair
that's fair.
ask.
yeah, I mean, we spent enough time today on the subject.
Okay?
I don't know,
It seems there's two issues here. Mr. Fredette's asking for a continuation to review Dave
well, to
DeVincen's
submit, he wants
Yeah,
to.
comments back.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And
Let's
I
allow
have to-
that.
I don't
And
have
then-
an issue with that.
And then the other piece is this question of cease and desist, including work on the property. I think we should, I don't know how to decouple them,
Yeah.
but they're two separate issues. And so, and I don't vote, but
No.
I think it's reasonable to give the time. I think it's more than reasonable.
For
to
his
give-
response, I
That's
agree
all.
with
I
that.
agree.
And the other
I mean, what is,
piece,
Joanne, what is the next meeting?
Next meeting is scheduled for July 9th.
9.
If you want to,
is that the 8th?
Go ahead, Shane, go ahead.
a few days before, so I can get his response to you, all the members, so you can meet it.
Well, that'd be, yeah,
July
that would
9th, I will
be,
be out of the country.
well, is that,
Is that firm? Yeah, I'm going.
no. Is that, would that be an issue for you if you weren't able to, yeah?
No, if I'm not here, that's
mean-
fine. You know, I can try to tune in to watch, because my experts will be here and whatnot to take care of the technical business of what this is. Because all
Yeah.
I want out of the end of this is it to be done.
To be, right, resolved.
And-
That's all we're.
Right, and that's all we want.
I don't
Shane.
have any skin in the game. I
Right,
think
nor-
I'm
nor
just
do
trying to
I.
be fair to all parties, that's it. Bottom line. What's that?
Let's vote on two things, whether to have a date.
No, I think we've, we'll entertain a motion to continue this to July 9th, pending submittal of a written response from the engineer.
You want to put that like by the 7th, so I can get it to you?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Everybody?
that's right. Yeah, I would think he wouldn't, yeah. It
We'll
shouldn't-
continue
it
to
shouldn't
July
take-
9th with the letter from Mr. Fredette?
Yeah,
Like,
yes.
the latest by the
Yeah, I
7th,
mean,
so I
that
can get
would,
it to everybody?
yeah, I guess, yeah.
And again, Mr. Chairman, let's include no more site work.
Is that fair, Dave? Is that enough
Mr.
time?
Thomas, you have my,
Or do you want
you
more-
have
do you
my
want more
promise,
time?
no site work.
Well,
That's
Shane,
all,
I'd
that's
hate to
fine.
see you spend your hard-earned
We
money.
don't wanna,
And at this point,
We wanna
so much
resolve,
back
okay?
and
I
forth.
want to reserve the
It's
right
been
because
sitting there for
I'm dealing
forever.
with
Okay.
him and the attorney.
All we want is to be.
And I don't know how much.
And that's all I'm asking,
That's it.
Whatever
right?
you
We
want.
won't
I mean,
touch
no, I don't
anything
want it to
inside,
be just
we won't touch
open-ended.
anything
Right.
anywhere.
I'm
There's
gonna-
no more
Seems
work.
to be-
We don't have anything large
Let me
planned
know.
anyway.
it's clearly gotta be a little more
Sounds good.
review on
We're supposed to be finishing this,
what the ramifications are.
trying to get move to
Just have to
certificate of
move.
compliance is
Yes.
being done, and then
Yes,
so that
absolutely.
nothing will be touched until the next meeting.
Mark, please, go ahead, Mark.
So in the review of Dave DeVignan's review, can
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
I was just reading the state stormwater handbook, so can you take a look and make sure, and I can try to, we can figure out the guidance, that is an issue. And I can't say, from my review of it, again, but it appears it might be. It can,
Which one?
Right.
Yeah, roof into the wetlands, it might be.
no, I got it.
It goes into the pit right in the back corner that's off of the wetlands. but
Is that where it's going now? Yeah. Okay.
I appreciate your cooperation,
Sorry.
Shane, and
Thank you.
we'll try to get you a live feed if we have to on the 9th or what.
We'll do our best to do that.
One more.
We'll look into it and see if we can.
One more
Yeah,
quick
this
thing,
goes
those
online.
discharge right into the wetlands, Mark.
Okay.
So my flag from my
So-
property is right there at the
There's a
wetlands.
motion on
That's
the
one-
floor.
That's one of the things from,
Yes.
I'll be quiet, sorry.
There's a motion on the floor.
Yes,
She second.
yes, second.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So July 9th. All right, Shane?
Thank you.
Can I just have you guys sign this off, please, or is that okay? That would-
So as we wrap this up, my apologies for being late. I'm going to send out, this has to do with Deep Brook, this is
Well,
another,
We need to entertain the executive session.
right, you're right.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy, that's correct,
All
yeah.
right, so this is the notice of intent for 211 Middle Road. I think Eric needs to come back at some point.
This one here, Joanne, is for 211.
Oh, that's where the other one went to.
This is 211?
Okay, wait a minute, then you got, okay, we have two. You got it, yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
sign that one, that's fine. I went printed another one, because I thought they were in the folders. And then if you want to start here, that's the Buzzards Bay Coalition.
Yep.
All right, what are we doing here today? Other than no glasses.
Any glasses?
No, I got really bad guys.
Buzzards Bay Coalition.
I got pretty bad eyes.
No, and then I say that, and I wear sunglasses to drive because I can't see with the lights in my face. I'm like, oh, Jesus, who's the line?
Oh, that's, okay. Robichaud?
So I'm going to adjourn this meeting and then...
Put it off, right?
Yeah.
I would say you have to.
Still on TV, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to entertain a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Executive session in the Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, subsection A1, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health, rather than the professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline or dismissal or complaints or changes or charges against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. Conservation Commission and the Board Commission will not return to public session at the conclusion of the executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second. Roll call vote, Mr. Hinckley?
Yes.
Mr. Gasper?
Yes.
Okay, the Board of Selectmen are now in executive session. Now, we need you guys to do the same.
Executive session under MGL CH 30821 to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than the professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline of a dismissal of the complaint or changes against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. Conservation Commission and the Board Commission will not return to the public session at the concession of the executive session. I'd like to entertain a motion that we go into the executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call vote.
Aye, Douglas Thomas.
Aye, James Souza.
Aye, Christian D'Souza.
Hi, how you doing, Tina?
Hi, Eric DeBarros.